welcome back to my boots. I am all sorts of out of, you can see it right now, all kinds of out of sorts and discombobulated. It has been a terrible day, but side note, just a complete total side note. I will be working through some of the things that I'm going to be talking about in Right Effort, but just bear with me. I'm not in the best frame to be doing this. Still, you deserve it. You deserve a sermon, and I'm going to give you one. I'm going to do the absolute damnedest I can because this is important. So, Right Effort. Starting with, come on. There we go. A nice little clip from Samurai Jack.
Let's throw.
He's working through some of the unwholesome qualities that we're going to talk about in a little bit. In fact, the unwholesome qualities may well be the rocks that he's wearing tied to him by his garment. Right? Making the effort. This is right effort after all, right? There's the monkey mind. Putting more thoughts on. Putting more weight on. Putting more weight on. Making it harder for you. A little bit more doubt. And see, over time, he's getting better. He's able to deal with all the stuff that he's carrying around, all those unwholesome qualities. Uh-oh. Here's some wholesome qualities for you. That would be confidence. Making the right effort. Your effort pays off. That is a nice little metaphor for enlightenment. I don't know if it was symbolically put there specifically because of that, but yeah. So that clip always gets me, every single time. It's a very powerful reminder of all kinds of Buddhist messages, even though they're probably not Buddhist in intent, right? There's probably no Buddhist or religious purposes behind them. It's simply a show. It's for entertainment, right? Minus maybe the three monkeys that we saw, not seeing, not hearing, and not speaking about Jack as he's falling down, right? That may have been intentional, maybe. But this is definitely a case of faith is where you find it, right? So we can't just look at things around us and say, well, there's no faith in it, so whatever. We can take a look at things that are going on around us. We can take a look at, the things that we see, the things that are out there, and we can say, okay, well, I'm going to find either a message of affirming faith, or saying, oh, well, that is very clearly not a part of our faith. We're not doing that, right? We have that choice. We can make that. We can do that if we're making the right effort. And that's what we're talking about today, isn't it? right? So let's start with the qualities that we're going to be talking about, right? So the main underlying foundations of right effort are wisdom and energy. Wisdom being fed by energy, right? So we've said that wisdom is the application of one's experience. We said that last week. And this is definitely a case of that, right? So he's doing things, he's pushing forth, he's pushing himself, and he's getting that experience in, and he's applying it, right? So this is a nice little metaphor for wisdom, and it's good. It's awesome that we can sit there and watch that and have fun with it, right? But we also see the energy in there, right? He's putting forth all kinds of effort, all kinds of energy to get where he wants to go, right? But energy has two kinds, right? It's, well, lots of different kinds, but specifically for Buddhist purposes, there is wholesome energy and then there's unwholesome energy. There's wholesome ways that we can utilize the nutrients that we've gotten, and there's unwholesome ways. And there's wholesome ways that we can do things and unwholesome ways, right? So we see both of those in Jack, actually. So on the one hand, his efforts are to better do violence to his enemy, who is a demon, right? Aku is definitely a demon. But on the other hand, he's chock full of discipline. He's chock full of concentration, determination, and understanding. And those are really awesome. Those are positive qualities that we should definitely have. And those are part of right effort, right? So the discipline and determination that Jack shows when he's making all of these efforts, when he's, pushing himself and trying so hard, it really in a strange way reminds me of the Buddha when he was seeking enlightenment, before he got there. We really see this in the Buddha right as he's going to the Bodhi tree, right as he's at the Bodhi tree at Bodh Gaya. We see, because what the Buddha did is he did a mental version of this, and he said, I am not going to get up until I've achieved the goal. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to figure it out, and I'm not getting up until it's done. That kind of determination, we see that here, right? So again, faith is where you find it. We can see the parallels. Obviously, Jack is not the Buddha, not even close. But we can see the parallels in that both of them are making that effort. And that's an effort that we can make too, a spiritual effort. So, and being in the military, being Dhamma boots, we can make that physical effort too. Obviously, don't try the full-scale route, but we see that when people are doing runt marches, right? We see that effort where you've got a pack full of stuff and you're trudging along, trying your best. It sucks. But you keep going. You have that determination, right? So, for right effort to be made, there are four constituent parts to it, which I'm going to call qualities, right? So there's stopping unwholesome qualities from arising, chipping away at those that have arisen, encouraging wholesome qualities to spring forth or arise, and maintaining and polishing the wholesome qualities that we already have. Right? So we see each of these in Jack's effort, right? The rocks that he wears to train are a whole lot like his unwholesome qualities, and they are tied to him by his karma. Metaphorically, of course. They're tied to him specifically by vines, but our unwholesome qualities are tied to us by karma. What we do, the effort that we make, the unwholesome things that we do, that's tied to us by our karma. We are owners of that. It's bound to us, right? So, and those are heavy things, right? So, when we take a look at it and we say, okay, well, these heavy things are tied to us, do you want that to be the case? No, obviously not. And that's what the Buddha is totally getting at here, right? You get rid of all of the unwholesome qualities, and you instead put in their place and encouraging good, wholesome qualities in their place. So let's take a look at what each of those might mean, and according to the Buddha, and we'll kind of go into that, and then as soon as I'm done with that, I will show the Samurai Jack clip again, and I want you guys to take a look at it and say, oh, okay, this is kind of what he's talking about. See where you don't see these things in the clip, because again, faith is where we find it. I want you to find it even in something so mundane as Samurai Jack, right? So the unwholesome qualities, both before they arise in us and after they have, are usually identified with the 5 hindrances, right? We have sensual desire, we have ill will, we have drowsiness or dullness, depending on how you translate it. We have restlessness or worry, again, and we have doubt. So Jack has to confront all of these as he trains. The Buddha had to confront all of these when he trained under the Bodhi tree, right? Under the Bodhi tree. And we have to confront those in our day-to-day lives too, don't we? Can we do that? I think we can. Right, so let's look at this. Let's look at all of these characteristics. The one that I think we really don't see in the clip too much, that we probably will see more in our own lives, is sensual desire, right? In this case, Jack doesn't have to worry about sensual desire. He's so focused on training that that's all there is. That would be a different kind of desire, but it's definitely not a sensual desire, right? We, as normal human beings, are going to have sensual desires, and as long as we're not monks and nuns and we don't act on them, or as long as we, as not monks and nuns, don't get attached to them and don't let them dictate what we do, no problem, right? Obviously, we don't want too much of them, so we want to try and get rid of those that do pop up. But yeah, that's part of who we are. So, trying to get rid of it, good. Letting it control you, terrible idea. Bad idea, right? You don't do that. So, let's look at ill will now. This is... Ill will is, Jack is living ill will, right? His whole purpose throughout the series, and the reason why he's learning how to jump good in this clip, is to do violence to Aku, to destroy his enemy. That is ill will, right? He wants to hurt Aku. He wants to destroy Aku. That would be ill will. You don't want to destroy anyone. If you have to, you have to, but you don't want to. On the other hand, Aku is definitely ill will incarnate. He's a demon who's designed around trying to do unspeakable evils, right? Deliberately, to everybody. And so on that front, Jack confronting him is a good thing, right? So this right effort in this context means taking that and not having that ill will, but confronting it, right? So we see a lot of that throughout the clip, and if you watch the series, which I totally recommend, just on the basis of its art, but also because there's a lot of really cool messages in there throughout the series. We can see how you can change from having ill will to confronting it, to fighting ill will, right? And that's when we learn to jump good, is when we start fighting back against that ill will. You know, the temptation to say, oh, I would want to break that guy's leg, or I'd love to punch that guy in the face, right? You've probably all had that thought, right? Or something similar. Maybe not exactly that thought, but something similar. We have to confront that, but we don't confront it externally like Jack does. We confront it internally, inside, in here. And that's when we learn to jump. That's why we learn to jump good. Spiritually, jump good. If you want to learn how to physically jump good, you go, that's on you. But spiritually, we're supposed to learn how to jump good so that we can fight that demon of ill will. We can struggle and confront that and say, nope, you're not going to win. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to punch that dude in the face. I'm not going to break that dude's leg. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Because I'm not made of ill will. Because ill will is something that I am confronting. I'm going to fight it. Right? So, drowsiness. We see this in the beginning of the clip, right? right? As the rocks that Jack is trying to lug around are so incredibly heavy, right? The unwholesome qualities and all of that is so heavy, and he has to strive. He has to really go at it. And he's just sweating, and he's like, I don't want to do this. He does anyway, right? And we have to as well. Yeah, there are going to be times when you're going to want to say, yeah, I'm just too damn tired. I really am. That's okay. Sometimes knowing where you are is a good thing. But spiritually speaking, we have to not sit actually. We have to get up even if we're drowsy and make the effort. Because it's so easy to be lazy. It's so easy to say, well, I don't have to chant today, or meditation, it's okay, but I'm not for me today. I'm just too tired. You make the effort anyway. You try. If it fails, it fails, but you try. On the other side, we see restlessness and worry and disquiet underneath Jack's exterior. So we saw his drowsy side, we saw the lack of energy, and then we see too much energy, right? Because the reason why he's propelled to do all of these things is that restlessness, is that disquietude, is that, oh, I gotta do this. So there's this balance that we have to find, right? Between not doing enough and doing too much. So, we do this in our lives. We confront restlessness and worry and disquietude when we confront our own insecurities, our own fears, because that's really what's driving most of the restlessness, most of the disquietude, is some fear or some insecurity that we're not enough, that we're not doing enough, that we're not trying hard, that we are less. We can confront that, can't we? We can. We need to. Right? But we have to put forth the effort. We have to use that energy to make that happen. Right? And the last one that we see this all over the place in Jack, right? When he's trying to cross the vines the first time, when he's trying to cross the water the first time, doubt. Right? This is the obvious one. He doubts he'll make it, and he makes a half-hearted effort, says, I'm not gonna make it. Well, yeah, he doesn't. Simple as that. Doubt destroys us. Doubt tells us, doubt gives us that out that says, oh, you can't do it. I don't know if you can do it. You're probably gonna fail. Well, don't try and you will fail. Do try. You might fail. You might succeed. But you at least have that chance. Right? So doubt will hinder you from getting to the goal in the same way that having confidence will help you towards the goal, right? And you have to be confident in the Dharma. You have to be confident in your practice of the Dharma. You have to be confident in what you are doing. How do you do that? Well, the Buddha actually laid out specific types of meditation for each of these unwholesome qualities so that we can confront them. Right? These are our practices. These are our lifting the rocks with our legs. These are we're jumping. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this on. This is us running with the rocks to get rid of, to make their weight bearable until we can get rid of them, and then getting rid of them, right? Like we saw at the end. So for sensual desire, the meditation that the Buddha gave us was to focus on unattractive parts of the body, right? So you might go from the obvious parts of the body that arouse desire, whatever that may be for you, to focusing on things like the gallbladder producing bile. That's attractive, ain't it? Or the intestines digesting whatever you ate this morning. That's really gonna help you get it up, ain't it? No. And that's what the Buddha's getting at, right? Or, maybe you're focusing on somebody's toenail fungus. Ugh. Right? That's foul. And that's what the Buddha is saying here, right? In order to get past sensual desire, you have to look not at the things which are attractive, but the things which are unattractive and say, That's part of humanity too. That's a part of who people are. So with a with a kind of a light sense of humor, we can kind of see this as some of the Army's preparatory drills during physical training, right? So we get the old, I'm up, he sees me, I'm down, right? Substitute relevant appendages as needed. And you get, I'm up, that's pus, phlegm, and bile, and stomach acids, I'm down. For ill will, we focus on loving kindness. And here it can be really useful to chant the Metta Sutta. And if you can't find a good version on your own, I've done this a number of times. Just look back through my old videos, Karaniya Metta Sutta. I think I even did one of those on the border mission, so it should be totally easy to find. But go back and chant that, or listen to it being chanted, right? And listen to what it means, listen to what it says, listen to what it means. Find a good translation. I can give you those if need be, right? For drowsiness and dullness, the Buddha offers us a few options. We can meditate on death, right? And don't get me wrong, this is all kinds of heavy stuff. Right effort is heavy. It's important though, right? Because when you're meditating on death, there's few things that are gonna arouse you to say, oh, maybe you should go out and live, and make use of your life. Don't waste your time, like looking at it and saying, I'm going to die. Maybe I need to start making something of my life. Maybe I need to start doing more, right? The other way you can do this is through physical exercise, right? If you're drowsy, do some walking meditation, do some hiking meditation, do some swimming meditation, do some running meditation, whatever it takes, right? Do something physical. Sometimes that's just as good, just as good of a method to get past drowsiness as anything else, right? So we will be doing a lot of this during the Spiritual Fitness Challenge, which, side note, has moved to February. So anybody who's in the area in February, yeah, come join us for that. Well, it'll be lots of fun. It'll be lots of work. It'll be lots of effort, but it'll be lots of fun. So for restlessness, the Buddha's advice is just to meditate. Just plain sit there and pay attention to your breath, right? By sitting in meditation, we calm ourselves quickly and easily. And the benefits to this are, the documented benefits of meditation are out there. It's a thing that works. The Buddha knew that. We know that. We've sat there and scientifically proved that it works. We don't know how it works, but we know that it does. Right? And for doubt, the Buddha recommends engaging that doubt. Saying, okay, you're asking yourself questions. Let's ask some questions and answer them. Right? So you don't just sit there and say, oh, well, can I really do this? You say, can I really do this? Yes, by doing this, this, and this, I can get there. Boom, doubt solved. Real easy. Now onto the more fun parts. We're going to go into the wholesome arisen qualities, because these are the ones that we need to foster and develop and nurture, and then keep nurturing as they mature. As we keep practicing, they grow, they develop, they expand. They become stronger within us. And that's why we need to keep practicing them. That's why we need to keep developing them. That's why we need to keep nurturing them. Usually traditionally they've been connected to the seven so-called factors of enlightenment, or qualities of enlightenment. Since I did that with the unwholesome ones, I'm going to call them qualities as well. So really it's more like a list of components. Like it's a packing list for your rucksack, if you will. These are the things that you're supposed to carry around. They are, in no specific order: mindfulness, investigation into the nature of reality, which is also known as curiosity, I would say. Energy / determination / effort, which we're just going to condense down to vigor, right? Joy / rapture, relaxation or tranquility, mental and physical. Concentration, which leads to clarity and awareness. And equanimity, right? Now we saw some of this in the clip. We saw some of this in Jack, not all of it, but some of it, right? And it would definitely, again, we're not trying to conflate the Buddha with Samurai Jack. It's that's not what we're doing. There's no connection. But we see a lot of that in that clip, right? Jack is making the right effort, and we see those qualities, right? So there's a certain mindfulness and a relaxation, especially when that rock is gone, right? There's that relaxed moment where he's just like, right? So we see mindfulness, we see the joy and rapture of having let go of all of that stuff, right? We see that relaxation, that tranquility. We see the concentration. You might even say we can see some equanimity, right? And he's curious. Once that rock comes off, he's curious as to what he can do, right? So he goes up, he starts jumping, and he says, oh wow, this is impressive, this is incredible. And then he keeps doing it, right? Because he's testing his new abilities. He's testing what happens when he gets rid of all of the unwholesome qualities and starts nurturing wholesome qualities. He learns to jump good. And we can learn to jump good too. As Dhamma Boots, that's our spiritual task. Learn to jump good. Spiritually. Right? Put these things in your rucksack. Get rid of the other stuff out of your rucksack. Mental rucksack, spiritual rucksack, not physical. And then keep going. And be determined about it. Make that effort. Right? Because the Buddha did that. He practiced and developed and nurtured all of those wholesome qualities, got rid of the unwholesome ones, and that was how he got to the goal. That was how he got to enlightenment. That was how he attained his aim. We saw that a little bit with Jack as well, but do you think you as Dhamma Boots can't do that? Do you think there's no way you can possibly, practice mindfulness, develop your own mindfulness, develop your joy, rapture, or develop your relaxation or your tranquility, develop your concentration? You think there's no way you can do that? I think there is. And I think you need to. And I think that because practicing right effort is what we as Dhamma Boots have to do. It's what we're best at. Making that effort. Keeping going. Having that determination. Right? Practice. This is the practice side of the house. And we do things in the military. We practice. We keep going. We trudge on even if we don't want to. Even if it sucks. We make that effort. It's time to apply that to our spiritual lives as well. Let's get to it. Dhamma Boots, salute.